Assalamu alaikum dear students. Hoping you are enjoying good health. Today our topic is methods of measurement of national income. As you know, in the last lecture we have studied the concept and the definition of national income. Today in this lecture we will study how the national income is measured. Students, we have studied in the last lecture that according to Keynesian economist, national income takes the different forms. National income may take the form of the aggregate output produced in a period of 1 year. It may take the form of the total income earned by the whole nation. It may take the form of the total expenditures made by all the peoples. So we may say that national income is the combination of the three flows, and the interesting point is that these three streams flow at the same time in the economy. So national income may flow in the form of the aggregate output of the goods and the services, and it may flow in the form of the total income earned by the all factors of production, land, labor, capital and entrepreneurship in the form of rent, wages, interest rate and the profit. And the national income may flow in the form of the aggregate expenditures. These expenditures which are made on consumer goods and the investment goods. And the both type of expenditures are included by the private sectors and by the public sector. So there is the identity. Aggregate output of a nation is identical to the total income, equal to the national income, and these both are equal to the aggregate expenditure of a nation. So with the background of these three flows of national income, we can conclude that national income can be measured with the help of these three methods: aggregate output method, aggregate income method and aggregate expenditure method. The first method is aggregate output method. According to this method, national income is the market value of the flow of output of goods and services produced in an economy in a year. So it means under the method of the aggregate output, we count all the goods and the services produced in a period of 1 year. Under the category of the goods, we measure the output of the different sector of different economic sector. For example, the agriculture sector, industrial sector. In the agriculture sector, we count the output of the different crops, wheat, rice, and in the industrial sector, we count the output of the different manufactured goods. For example, computers, cars, watches. While under the category of the services, we count not only the services provided by the individuals but also the services provided by the institutions. The services by the doctors, teachers, rickshaw drivers, engineers, they are the services provided by the individuals. While the example of the services provided by the institutions are banks, insurance companies, schools, universities, hospitals. So in this way, all the output of the goods and all the output of the services produced in a 1 year are included in the national income. Now an important question arises here. Why is market value of goods and services calculated? Why do we not count the goods and services as they are? The reason behind this is that the measurement units of the different goods and services are different. For example, we measure the wheat in terms of tons, we measure cloth in meter, and we measure all the liquid things in liter. While the services are measured in terms of hours. So All these goods and services are valued in terms of monetary units, in terms of money, so that all these goods and services are measured in the same unit of measurement, and this unit of measurement is money or a monetary value, so that we can calculate only one single unit of income. Here is a table to show how the national income is measured by using the method of aggregate output. In the first column, different goods and the services has been entered. Here are a few goods and services, but they represent many sectors of the economy. For example, wheat and rice represent the agriculture sector, watches and computers represent the industrial sector, doctors and teachers represent the services provided by individuals, while here banks represents the services provided by institutions. In the second column, the output of these goods and services produced in a period of 1 year has been mentioned here. And the third column, the market price of these goods and services has been entered, and by multiplying the market price with the output of these goods and services, we can easily calculate the monetary value of these goods and services, as I have done in the case of wheat. The total output of the wheat in a year is 30 lakh tons, for example, and the market price of wheat per ton is 1000 rupees. By multiplying the market price of wheat with its output, we can calculate the monetary value, which is equal to 30,000 lakh in this case. And this mechanism will be done for all the goods and the services, and in this way, by adding the monetary value of all these goods and services, we can calculate the total national income. Here are some precautions that must be undertaken if we measure the national income by using the method of aggregate output. The first precaution is that we should avoid the double counting. Yes, there is the risk of double counting. The reason behind is that when a commodity is produced, it passes through different productive stages. It may be possible that we count the same thing for many times. For example, first of all we count the output of the cotton, and then we again count the output of the thread which has been produced with the same cotton which we already had counted. And then we count the output of the cloth, and then the output of the ready-made garments. So what we are doing, we are counting the same commodity for many times. So the double counting should be avoided. What policy can be adopted to avoid the double counting? There may be different policies. A policy may be that we should count only those goods and services which have taken their final shape. Another policy is that if it is necessary to count the value of the raw material, then we should add only the added value of each productive stage to the value of the raw material. In this way, we can avoid the double counting. Another precaution which must be undertaken, it is that we should avoid the self-provided services, as these services are provided by a person for himself and his family, and as these services are not provided for money and they are not measured in terms of monetary units, as their monetary value cannot be calculated, so we avoid such type of services. Another precaution is that we should exclude the indirect taxes. In fact, when we count the output of the goods and services, we count them in terms of monetary value, in terms of market prices. And as the Market prices not only includes the cost of a commodity but also the taxes, indirect taxes which are imposed by the government. So indirect taxes must be excluded. And in the same way, another precaution is that the sale of the used commodity should be avoided. The second method of measuring the national income is aggregate expenditure method. Under this method of measuring national income, we sum all the expenditures made on consumption and investment, government expenditures and net income from abroad during a year. The main components of aggregate expenditure method are consumption expenditures, which are represented by C, and the gross private investment represented by I, and government expenditures represented by G. Under the government expenditures, both the consumption government expenditures and the investment made by the government both are included. And then the net exports, the difference between the exports and imports, is also included in this method. The first component of aggregate expenditure is consumption expenditures. Consumption expenditures fall into two categories: explicit expenditures and implicit expenditures. Explicit expenditures are well-defined expenditures. They are clear-cut one. Such expenditures are made on food, clothes, furniture, electronics and services. While the implicit expenditures are not well-defined, they are not so clear-cut. For example, the self-consumption of a part of the wheat by the farmer. As the major part of the wheat produced by a farmer is sold out in the market in terms of money, but a small part of produced output is kept by the farmer for personal use, and as it is not measured, it is not counted in monetary units, it remains uncounted. So the monetary value of the wheat should be included. In the same way, another example: a owner of a house lives in his own house, so the rent of the house must be included, because if he does not live in his own house and he rent out it, then he automatically earns the rent of the house. The second component of aggregate expenditure is gross private investment. To make expenditures on those capital goods which produce more goods, especially the consumer goods, is known as investment. For example, expenditures on machinery, plants and shares of some company. Investment expenditures includes not only the expenditures made on newly produced capital goods, but also the expenditures which are made on the replacement of the existing capital goods. To keep the existing plant in running position, sometimes we have to replace a small machine. Such type of investment expenditures are known as the replacement expenditures, or the expenditures on replacement. Third component of aggregate expenditure is government expenditures. Government expenditures include both type of expenditures on consumption and also the government investment expenditures. It also includes the development expenditures and the non-development expenditures. Development expenditures, for example, is expenditures on the production of the goods and the services, and non-development expenditures maybe include expenditures on defense, administration, education, health. Today's the expenditures on education and health are considered development expenditures, not the non-development expenditures, because the expenditures on education and health are considered investment in the human beings. So the expenditures made by the public sector is also included in the aggregate expenditures. The fourth component is net export. Net exports means the difference between exports and imports. Exports creates receipts in terms of foreign exchange. When we export, we get receipts in terms of foreign exchange, and when we import, we have to make payments in terms of foreign exchange. We may say that exports creates income for us in terms of foreign exchange, while the imports are the expenditures which we have to make in the terms of foreign exchange. If exports are greater than imports, so automatically the net exports will be positive, and this must be included in the national income. And if the exports are less than the imports, then the net exports, the difference between export and import, will be negative, and it will be excluded from the national income. Here are some precautions. So some precautions must be undertaken if we use the aggregate expenditures method to measure the national income. The first one is that only those expenditures must be included which are made on the final goods and services. And in the same way, the expenditures on the used good should not be included, and the expenditures on the old shares also should not be included. The third method of measuring the national income is aggregate income method. National income is the sum of all those payments which the factors of production earn during a year. As the people of a nation work as different factors of production: land, labor, capital and entrepreneurship. And the remuneration of these factors of production are known as wages, interest rate, rent and profits. So if we add or sum all the wages, interest rates, rent and profits earned by the people during a year, then we will get the sum of the total national income. There are the four components of the aggregate income. The first one is wages. Wages are the payment against physical and mental services. They include salaries, wages, bonuses. The second component is interest rate. Interest rate. Under the interest rate, not only the interest earned by the people but also the interest earned by the firms are included, and also the interest earned against the foreign securities included. Rent is earned against the use of the real assets, houses, shops. And in the same way, the royalties against the copyrights is also included in the category of rent. All types of profits, either it is earned by the single entrepreneur or earned by the joint stock companies or by the corporations, these all types of profits are included in the category of the profits. So, by adding up all these four types of remunerations, we get the aggregate income. Here are some precautions that must be undertaken while using the method of aggregate income to measure the national income. The first one is indirect business taxes must be included. The mechanism behind this is the same as we have discussed in the previous section. Undistributed profit must be included. In fact, all the profit earned by a business or by a joint stock company is not distributed among its partners or its shareholders, but some part of this earned profit is kept undistributed for the purpose of the extension of the business and for the purpose of to deal some crisis. As this undistributed profit is earned by the nation, so it must be included in the income, in the aggregate income, although it is not distributed among the entrepreneurs. The third and the fourth precaution is that the transfer payments by the people, for example, the gifts, must be excluded, because such type of transfer payment already had been included in the income of the persons who have made these transfer payments. In the same way, the public sector transfer payments, government transfer payment, for example, the pension, unemployment allowances must also be excluded because such type of transfer payment already had been included in the income of the public sector.